The Burma Star is a military campaign medal, instituted by the United Kingdom in May 1945 for award to subjects of the British Commonwealth who served in the Second World War, specifically in the Burma Campaign from 1941 to 1945. One clasp, the Pacific Clasp, was instituted to be worn on the medal ribbon. The Second World War stars, altogether 8 campaign stars and 9 clasps, were initially instituted for campaign service during the Second World War. On 8 July 1943, the 1939–1945 Star and the Africa Star were the first 2 of these stars to be instituted. One more campaign star, the Arctic Star, and one more clasp, the Bomber Command Clasp, were belatedly added on 26 February 2013, more than 67 years after the end of the war. Only one of these campaign stars, the 1939–1945 Star, covered the full duration of the Second World War from its outbreak on 3 September 1939 to the victory over Japan on 2 September 1945. No one could be awarded more than 5 campaign stars, and no one could be awarded more than 1 clasp to any one campaign star. 5 of the 9 clasps were the equivalents of the namesake campaign stars and were awarded for the same respective campaigns as those stars, to be worn on the ribbon of that campaign star of the applicable group which had been earned first. The maximum of 6 possible campaign stars of the following: the 1939–1945 Star with, if awarded, either the Battle of Britain Clasp or the Bomber Command Clasp. Only one of the Atlantic Star, Aircrew Europe Star, France and Germany Star, and, if awarded, the first to be earned respectively of the Aircrew Europe Clasp, France and Germany Clasp or Atlantic Clasp, to be worn on the ribbon of that one of these 3 campaign stars to have been first earned and awarded. The Arctic Star, the Africa Star with, if awarded, the first to be earned of the North Africa 1942–43 Clasp, 8th Army Clasp or 1st Army Clasp, either the Pacific Star or Burma Star, or, if awarded, either the Burma Clasp or Pacific Clasp respectively, to be worn on the ribbon of that one of these 2 campaign stars to have been first earned and awarded. The Italy Star institution. The Burma Campaign took place between the 11th of December 1941 and the 2nd of September 1945, during which time Japanese forces invaded Burma and drove British forces back to the Indian border. Since the Japanese held superiority in the Pacific Ocean, the Allies were not in a position to strike back and regain a foothold in Burma until early in 1944. Total surrender of the Japanese came on 2 September 1945. Following the dropping of atom bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, prisoners of war were forced by their Japanese captors to labor on projects such as railway construction, later depicted in the film The Bridge on the River Kwai, and were frequently tortured and starved. Approximately 13,000 British soldiers and 2,000 civilians died in Japanese prisoner camps. The Burma Star was instituted by the United Kingdom in May 1945 for award to those who had served in operations in the Burma Campaign from 11 December 1941 to the 2nd of September 1945. Both dates inclusive. Award criteria. The eligibility criteria for the award of the Burma Star was different for service afloat at sea and service ashore. In addition, British uniform regulations stipulated that the Burma Star could not be awarded to a prior recipient of the Pacific Star. Subsequent entitlement to the Pacific Star was denoted by the award of the Pacific Clasp. The entitlement to wear the Burma Star, or the Burma Clasp on the ribbon of the Pacific Star, enables the recipient to join the Burma Star Association. Service afloat. Royal Navy and Merchant Navy personnel qualified through service in an area restricted to the Bay of Bengal and enclosed by a line running from the southernmost point of Ceylon for a distance of 300 miles south, then to a point 300 miles west of the southernmost point of Sumatra and continuing east to the western side of the Sunda Strait, including the Strait of Malacca. The 6 months service requirement, or 2 months for aircrew, for the award of the 1939 to 1945 star had to be completed before service could begin to count towards qualification for the award of the Burma Star. The award of a gallantry medal, a mention in dispatches, qualified the recipient for the award of the Burma Star, regardless of service duration. Personnel whose qualifying service period was terminated prematurely by their death or disability due to service were awarded this star. Certain special conditions applied governing the award of the Burma Star to those naval personnel who entered operational service less than 6 months before the end of the qualifying period. Those who entered operational service in the qualifying area on or after the 7th of March 1945 were awarded either the Pacific Star or the Burma Star by entry into operational service, the star awarded being the one appropriate to the last area in which service was rendered. In such cases, however, the 1939-45 star could not be awarded for service of less than 180 days. Service ashore. Army and Navy personnel and Air Force ground crew serving ashore qualified through entry into operational service in Burma between the 11th of December 1941 and the 2nd of September 1945. Airborne troops of the armies who took part in airborne operations in a qualifying area for land operations qualified by entry into operational service. Aircrew who flew over the qualifying land and sea areas within the specified dates qualified by an operational sortie, while aircrew on transport or ferrying duties qualified by at least 3 landings in any of the qualifying land areas. The medal was also awarded for service during certain specified periods in China, Hong Kong, India, Malaya and Sumatra, all dates inclusive. Bengal and Assam in India from the 1st of May 1942 to the 31st of December 1943. Bengal and Assam, east of the Brahmaputra and Dihang rivers, from the 1st of January 1941 to the 2nd of September 1945. China from the 16th of February 1942 to the 2nd of September 1945. Hong Kong from the 26th of December 1941 to the 2nd of September 1945. Malaya from the 16th of February 1942 to the 2nd of September 1945. Sumatra from the 24th of March 1942 to the 2nd of September 1945. Service in China, Hong Kong, Malaya and Sumatra after the 8th of December 1941 but prior to the start dates listed above was recognized by the award of the Pacific Star. Order of wear. Campaign medals and stars are not listed by name in the order of wear prescribed by the British Central Chancery of the Orders of Knighthood, but are all grouped together as taking precedence after the Queen's Medal for Chiefs and before the Polar Medals, in order of the date of the campaign for which awarded. The order of wear of the 9 campaign stars was determined firstly by the respective campaign start dates, secondly by the campaign's duration and thirdly by the dates of institution. The 1939 to 1945 star, from the 3rd of September 1939 to the 2nd of September 1945, the full duration of the Second World War. The Atlantic Star, from the 3rd of September 1939 to the 8th of May 1945, the duration of the Battle of the Atlantic and the War War in Europe. The Arctic Star, from the 3rd of September 1939 to the 8th of May 1945, the duration of the Battle of the Atlantic and the War in Europe. The Aircrew Europe Star, from the 3rd of September 1939 to the 5th of June 1944, the period until D-Day-1. The Africa Star, for the 10th of June 1940 to the 12th of May 1943, the duration of the North African Campaign. The Pacific Star, for the 8th of December 1941 to the 2nd of September 1945, the duration of the Pacific War. The Burma Star, from the 11th of December 1941 to the 2nd of September 1945, the duration of the Burma Campaign. The Italy Star, from the 11th of June 1943 to the 8th of May 1945, the duration of the Italian Campaign. The France and Germany Star, from the 6th of June 1944 to the 8th of May 1945, the duration of the Northwest Europe Campaign. Preceded by the Pacific Star, succeeded by the Italy Star. Description: the set of 9 campaign stars was designed by the Royal Mint engravers. The stars all have a ring suspended which passes through an eyelet formed above the uppermost point of the star. They are 6-pointed stars, struck in yellow copper zinc alloy to fit into a 44 mm diameter circle, with a maximum width of 38 mm and 50 mm high from the bottom point of the star to the top of the eyelet. Obverse: the obverse has a central design of the royal cipher GRIV surmounted by a crown. A circlet, the top of which is covered by the crown, surrounds the cipher and is inscribed the Burma Star. Reverse: the reverse is plain and, as with the other Second World War campaign medals, a no engraving policy was applied by all but 3 British Commonwealth countries. The recipient's name was impressed on the reverse for Australians, Indians and South Africans. In the case of Indians, this consisted of the recipient's force number, rank, initials, surname and service armour corps, and in the case of South Africans, of the force number, initials and surname, in block capitals. Clasp: the clasp was struck in yellow copper zinc alloy and has a frame with an inside edge which resembles the perforated edge of a postage stamp. It is inscribed Pacific and was designed to be sewn onto the medal's ribbon. When medals are not worn, a silver rosette is worn on the ribbon bar to denote the award of the clasp ribbon. The ribbon is 32 mm wide, with a 3.5 mm wide navy blue band, a 4 mm wide dark yellow band and a 3.5 mm wide navy blue band, repeated and separated by a 10 mm wide army red band. The dark blue bands represent British naval forces, the red band represents the Commonwealth armies and the dark yellow bands represent the Sun. The ribbons for this medal and a defense medal, as well as those of the other Second World War campaign stars, with the exception of the Arctic Star, were devised by King George VI.